It's definitely not a regular through hike, that's for sure.
You definitely should not underestimate this trail.
Like, you could fall down a canyon and potentially no one would find you for a while.
I think a lot of the gnarly stuff is like really fun actually though. At least it is fun.
So much more dense with cool stuff than I expected.
This whole trail has been about problem solving. I didn't want to have a well-worn path to follow the whole way. I wanted to kind of figure this stuff out on my own. Everybody can find something out here for themselves. It's just about finding the thing that you enjoy doing and looking for the metaphors in it. And just like that again, I'm out of town. Starting a new section, and this one's gonna be a long one. About 140 miles until I get to Tropic. Luckily I met a guy who was section hiking the Hayduke Trail. So he had a car with him, and he was able to drop me off at the beginning of section 7. If nothing else, this trail has taught me to pay attention. Pay very close attention, because it is so easy to go the wrong way for miles and not even realize it. I'm climbing up the 50-mile bench, and when I read the directions I kind of skimmed over it. I took a closer look at the maps and the directions and realized that I had just gone like a mile the wrong way and probably a few hundred feet of elevation that I'm now backtracking. That sucks. Well, I just missed another junction. Went the wrong way for about a mile before I realized I was going the wrong way. The map showed the trail ending at that junction, so I assumed the trail would end. But it keeps going. Then I came back, found the junction that I was supposed to turn off at, and I realized that one of my water bottles is missing. Went back up the trail that I went down the wrong way for the first time, and just gave up after about a quarter mile. Pretty good start so far to this 140-mile section, the longest one so far on the trail. A big journey like this doesn't come without some really frustrating parts. All we can do is just do our best to try and correct them quickly and keep moving. What a stupid way to begin this long section. I'm just gonna eat something. Maybe I just got all the stupid parts out of the way right at the beginning. That would be nice, but I doubt it. If there is a straight line route through the landscape, it means that territory has already been very well explored. In unexplored territory, there are a lot of obstacles, so a straight line route isn't really feasible. It takes longer and it takes more work, but unexplored territory is where all the reward still is.
It's definitely the antithesis of the Appalachian Trail. Like, what wilderness means on the AT compared to what wilderness means on the Hayduke. It's such a different thing.
Well, even in Maine on the AT, I remember they'd be like in the Biglows where that Geraldine went missing.
Mm.
It's like, I can see a ski resort right there.
Yeah.
It's like, here I can't see anything.
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's no, like, on other trails, there's very much so, like, you get up on something and you're like, oh, there's civilization. And here you get up on something, you're like, that might be a dirt road. It's like possibly 500 miles away.
Yeah.
People in town are excited to hear about what we're doing because they know that there's not a trail. And this is one of the few areas where you can have a real wilderness experience and not see other people for days and actually be in a place that's worth seeing instead of just like nobody's here because it sucks.
The sensation of not exactly knowing where you are. This is my first time trying to use paper maps, and it's fun and exhilarating.
Wander blindly into the sagebrush. Don't use maps and don't use a GPS. Just pick a direction that feels right and just go for it.
Yeah.
Just follow your bliss.
Set the compass bearing of your heart.
Start taking compass bearings out the wazoo.
Just herding some cattle again. These guys are everywhere. I've been thinking about stress a lot since yesterday and how we can manage it. What happened yesterday was just a series of events that increased my stress level one after another. Once I got up to the top of 50 Mile Bench, I took a good long break up there. Today was a new day. I woke up refreshed and actually feeling pretty good. And I've just been taking my time. Some of the navigation has been pretty tricky already. Just going cross country and trying to follow an old pack trail that doesn't really exist anymore. My pack is really heavy right now because I'm carrying a lot of food and a lot of water because there isn't much water coming up for the next 25 miles. So I've been taking a lot of breaks to just manage that physical stress on my body, because that always translates into emotional stress, and then that'll translate into mistakes. Those yucca plants are nothing to fucka with. Obviously, safety is important. There's no need for unnecessary risk or anything like that. But it seems like we've kind of sanitized everything and nerfed the world in the name of safety. When you place safety as top priority, I think you miss out on a lot. As a result, we're kind of stuck in a cast because there isn't anything challenging us anymore. Because the world has become so safe, it's kind of up to the individual to seek out their own type of danger. In regular life, I feel like there are so many safety nets that quitting is always an option, and it actually makes quitting way too easy. But out here, there's basically one safety net. I have an SOS button on my GPS tracker. I can push that if I'm dying, but that's about it. And that's a pretty good safety net. That's all I really feel like I need. But out here, we are highly, highly motivated to keep going because we don't really have a choice. We have to get to the next water source or to the next town to resupply. We only have so many days of food out here, so we are forced to keep moving. It makes us realize that we can do things that we didn't really think we could. But I think that is a super powerful lesson that is hard to learn anywhere else. Yesterday was a long and slow day. Didn't get in that many miles. I think only about 12. It's just kind of slow and tedious terrain going down those canyons. Lots of boulders and stuff to go around. And then today I won't have water for probably at least 15 miles. Even though I was walking by water, it was really, really bad. Completely ruined by the cows. Super alkaline. I took a taste of it just to see what it was like, and I think I'd rather go thirsty. So luckily I filled up water earlier on when it was a little bit better.
Rogers Canyon. Don't drink the water if you don't have to. Not to be graphic, but it was the worst diarrhea I've ever had in my life. Felt like a volcano inside me. It was really bad.
Definitely like on the spectrum of weird poops. But nothing too serious. Nothing like full Giardia.
Giardia is so much worse.
Yeah.
So you had it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has everyone had it?
Yeah. I mean, have you really hiked until you've had like crippling, height-destroying Giardia?
Oh.
So far on this trail, the cold has been a problem way more often than the heat has. I mean, the heat really hasn't been a problem at all up until now. But in these canyons, everything kind of reflects the heat right down onto me. Since there isn't any water coming up for a while, I'm trying to conserve water. And it's kind of just taking a toll on me. I have a bit of a headache and just super low energy. I'm in the middle of a shortcut right now. I think everybody feels differently about shortcuts, but I think it kind of depends on the situation. When it's a shortcut to water and cutting off about 6 miles of trail, then I'm down. I just came from Reese Canyon, which is down on this side, and came up over this ridge, and then I'm going down to this canyon, which is Last Chance Creek, and there's water down there. I've got a little bit left, but it is very alkaline and it doesn't taste good, so I'd rather not drink that if I don't have to. There's an awful lot of that white residue on the stream bed, and the creek is not flowing very much. That's not a good sign. It's actually a lot better than the stuff I have. I'll take it. That is such a relief. I walked up the creek just a little bit, found a good shady area. Nice pool to pull the water from. There's actually a bunch of tadpoles living in this pool, which is actually a good sign because they like the clean water. For all the white residue on the ground, I'm kind of surprised how good this tastes. Just 20 minutes ago, I was walking down that super steep hill, a bunch of loose rock. It was really hot. I was sweating and super thirsty, and it just kind of sucked. And now I have all the clean water I can drink. Good shady spot to sit, and I am so content right now. I'm sure in another hour I'll be hot and frustrated again.
But that's also, I think, a reason to be out here, to have like higher highs and maybe lower lows. And if you have a lower low, you enjoy the highs more.
You got to have the low lows and the high highs to make everything, it's all relative. Like when you don't have water, like in Dark Canyon last June, I was kind of freaking out. We didn't have water and it was 100 degrees, and then just a tiny puddle, and just like rejoice just because you found a puddle of water. It'd be special if there's water everywhere. You have to go through like, oh my God, I might die out here to like find that water, and then you're happy and so joyous. So, yeah, you gotta have both.
And it was still not good, the water.
No, it tasted terrible, but at least I was alive.
It was better than the last one, yeah.
For me it was in the Sierras. So the Sierras were probably my toughest part of all trails I've done, because I was unexperienced. It was my first time. I almost speak no English. It was pretty hard to communicate for me. So after 1 week I was just sitting there. I was low in food. I was just tired. I just wanted to quit, but there was no place to go. So I had to just push on, and the next day the landscape changed. And then mosquitoes, and it was one of the best days I've ever had. So it's just mental, it's just an up and down and up and down. And like you said, you can have all emotions in just one day. Yeah. And after all these experiences, you just realize how strong your mind is.
That's the kind of stuff that really puts it all in perspective for me. I mean, I'm out here going through the wilderness and it just feels like a big adventure. It doesn't really feel like life or death, but this is the environment that we all came from. And it was that life and death struggle that's what shaped us into who we are today. And I think sometimes we forget that. We forget how good we have it, how safe our lives really are.
The quicksand looks like. Don't stand on that too long.
I've got another long dry section coming up. This one's about 16 miles. I just passed my last water source, so I loaded up with about 3.5 liters. So my pack is nice and heavy again, but there's a slot canyon coming up pretty soon. It's kind of an alternate route. The actual Hayduke doesn't go through the slot canyon, and I don't have a whole lot of information about it, and hopefully I can actually go through the whole thing. Alright, that big castle looking rock marks the entrance of this Paradise Valley slot canyon. I'm afraid that I'm going to get like a mile in only to reach some impassable wall and then have to turn around and come back out. So I'm actually a little bit nervous about this, but it's a slot canyon, so it's worth checking out, I think. Well, I was right about there being an impassable wall at the end of this. I just dropped my pack and explored up to the end. It doesn't go too far, but this was super cool. Even though I can't actually go all the way through it, this is totally worth the side trip. The best parts of these long trails are often super brief. They might only last for an hour or two, but they're so rare that it takes a whole through hike in order to get to them. And those are the parts that make it all worth it for me. Today's probably going to be a pretty easy and uneventful day. Got about 15 miles of road ahead of me to finish up section 7. With how challenging this trail has been, I'm actually not minding the road walking so much. This is a really nice break just from the navigation and the rough terrain and all that. Section 8 starts out at Round Valley Draw, which I'm told is another slot canyon. 15 miles on the road will go by fairly quickly, and I should be able to get through the Round Valley Draw a little bit today, so that'll be cool. What a whirlwind of events. I got to the Grossvenor Arch, which was supposed to have water around there. I walked around for over an hour, probably hiked 4 extra miles, and didn't find anything. Even though this place feels like it's out in the middle of nowhere, there's some pretty good road access to this arch, and there were a lot of people hanging around there. So I was able to get some water from them, some clean, good tasting, and cold water. So that was quite the privilege to have that. I met another guy who is doing a long distance bike trip. Hung out and talked with him for a while. And before I knew it, I had been at this arch for over 3 hours. This Round Valley Draw actually sees a decent amount of foot traffic, which is super unusual for the Hayduke. So unusual, in fact, there's a trail here. So far, if I had to guess, I would say 10% of the Hayduke has been on trail. I guess it shouldn't be called a trail. The Hayduke is a route. And occasionally you might find a trail to hike on, which is really nice when you do. This is where the narrows begin. 2 slots in 2 days. The trail register says something about trust the log when you get to the drop. This log doesn't look super trustworthy, but I guess I don't really have a choice. First I have to lower my pack down. This is going to be another pack dropper. Shoe got stuck. That almost put me on my head. That was scary. I think this is the most comfortable I've been in a long time. This is perfect. So this whole time I've been hiking the trail, I haven't seen a single Hayduke hiker out on the trail actually, and then today I meet 3. Met up with number 2. Hello. And 2 other German guys. What were their names?
Janis and Lucas.
Only met them for about 5 minutes and they had to keep going to find some water. How far did they hike yesterday?
38 miles, they told me.
That's so crazy. They said they went 38 miles just to find some water yesterday. And there was still a spring coming up when I met them, so they were kind of in a hurry to keep going. Number 2 and I have been meeting up a little bit in town, at least in Hanksville and Escalante. We've kind of been on the same pace. He's a little bit faster than I am, but I've been a day ahead up until now. Well, I'm on my own again today. Had one full day of hiking with other Hayduke hikers. Giannis and Lucas are on a much faster schedule than I am, that's for sure. They have a pretty early permit for the Grand Canyon that they're trying to catch up to. And then I stuck around for another hour taking pictures of the old buildings and stuff. So number 2 moved on. And I'm used to that. I'm always moving a lot slower than everybody else out here because I'm always stopping to take pictures and stuff. I mean, I had a whole day of a head start coming out of Escalante and they all caught up with me. Either way, number 2 and I will be meeting up in Tropic when we get there tomorrow. Since I only have a few miles left to get into Tropic and I don't have to be there until tomorrow, I actually have some extra time for once to explore some of these side canyons up the Pariah River. There's actually water flowing through this slot canyon and there's a lot of quicksand, so we'll see how far up I feel like going.
This trail definitely offers some of the coolest campsites. Where else do you find something like this? This is going to be one of those things that if I do it, I can't do it 3 times. So I'm taking the camera with me. So this is how I'm stuck right now. I had to walk in it up to my knees. I was hoping I could stay a little bit clean today. Walking into town and everything. But I can get to there. There's a car stuck up in the top of this slot canyon. It's an old one, like from the 50s. That thing has been there a while. This is barely water, it's just mud. Sloppy, slippery, cold mud. I need to put this away. I need both my hands to get out of this. One puddle down. One more to go. Oh, 2 more to go. And then probably some more after that. At least they put a rope here. That is ice cold water. Wonder how deep this one is. Holy crap. This has probably been the coolest part of the whole trail, but it's definitely the worst to walk through.
So I've been going up this Bull Valley Gorge for a few hours now, and this is an alternate off of the original route that I don't have a whole lot of information about. I'm not even sure if I can get through this at the end. There's a possibility that I might just reach a dead end and have to turn around and go through the whole thing again. So I'm gonna keep going and hope I find a way out of here. Well, this lot is starting to get smaller. Looks like I'm reaching about the end of it, and I am looking for a way out. There's another puddle up there, and I don't want to do that if I don't have to. I think I see a way.
Breathe.
Feel like I can breathe again. I escaped the slot canyon. Well, this long section did not get off to a good start. That climb up 50 Mile Mountain, going the wrong way a couple times, losing my water bottle, lost another water bottle, just scrambling around boulders all day in bad water. But then after that, I think things got progressively better every day. It's been a pretty big shift from how this hike has been going. So far up until now, by the time I get this late into a section, I am very ready to get back into town, get some good food and rest and all that. And I think that's just because the trail has been so hard, it's been kind of beating me down. But now that my body's actually adjusted to the trail, everything is a little bit more effortless. And just that alone puts me in a better mood. Longest section so far, and I'm in no rush to end it. So that's a good sign. I think this is the first time I've had to deal with crowds on the whole trail. It's kind of weird. Usually I've had these canyons completely to myself. All it takes is a good road and a parking lot, and the day hikers will descend. I guess that shows how remote the trail has been. I've gone over really dangerous terrain so far, and steep cliffs and all that stuff where one slip could mean death. But nothing bad has really happened. My worst injury so far has been in town in the motel. It's already had a lot of time to heal up, but probably still looks pretty gross.